This is not just a story. It is a memory hidden in the dust of time. A memory of love. A memory of waiting. A memory of loss. This is the story of a promise. A promise that was swept away by war, but lived forever in the heart of a woman. The year was 1940. Paris, the city of lights, the city of love. The cafes were still filled with laughter, the streets alive with music, and dreams floated in the air like petals in the wind. But behind this beauty, a storm was rising. A storm that would burn cities, break homes, and destroy countless hearts. Small Blue Diamond, first meeting. In this city lived a young woman, Ella. She was full of kindness, full of dreams, and her eyes sparkled with the hope of tomorrow. One evening, she walked into a grand ballroom. It was alive with music, laughter, and golden light. And there, among the crowd of strangers, was a young soldier, Thomas. Tall, calm, with eyes that carried both strength and sorrow. He was about to leave for the front lines. But that night, he wanted to feel alive. Thomas saw Ella. In that moment, everything around him faded. He walked up to her and softly asked, "May I have this dance?" Ella hesitated for a moment, then smiled and placed her hand in his. They danced, and as they danced, time stood still. The world outside vanished. There was no war, no fear, no tomorrow. Only two souls moving as one. When the music ended, Thomas whispered, "When this war is over, we will meet here again, and we will dance under the same light to the same song." It was a promise, a fragile promise, yet stronger than anything else in their hearts. Small Blue Diamond, the shadow of war. But promises are fragile in times of war. Days later, German soldiers marched into Paris. The laughter disappeared. The lights went out. The ballroom closed its doors. Thomas was ordered to the front lines. As he held Ella's hand for the last time, she whispered through her tears, "Will you come back?" Thomas smiled, though his eyes were heavy. "Yes, Ella, I will come back. That is my promise." It was the last time she saw him. After that day, only waiting remained. Ella sat by the window, watching the empty streets. Where there once was music, now there was silence. Where there once was joy, now there were soldiers' boots. But in her heart, the promise lived on. She told herself every day, "He will return, and when he does, we will dance again." Small Blue Diamond letters and memories. At the front, Thomas lived through the horrors of war. The cold nights, the cries of the wounded, the endless gunfire. But each night, he wrote to Ella, "My dearest Ella, the nights are dark and the days are heavy, but in my heart, you are the light. I remember the way we danced, and I hold on to the promise that I will return." But the letters never reached her. The postal lines were broken. The letters lost to rain, fire, and chaos. Ella waited, but no words came, only silence. And yet, she still believed. Every evening, she walked past the locked doors of the ballroom. She closed her eyes, and in her heart, she felt his hand in hers. She swayed, as though the music was still playing. This memory, this promise, became her only strength. Small Blue Diamond, the height of war. 1944, the war reached its peak. D-Day. Thousands of soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy. Among them was Thomas. Bullets rained down, cannons roared. The sea turned red with blood. Chaos consumed everything. But in Thomas's heart, there was only one thought. "I must survive. I must return to her." He ran forward, fighting with everything he had. But fate had another plan. A bullet struck his chest. He fell to the ground, his hands shaking, his breath fading. And with his last strength, he whispered, "Ella, our last dance, our promise." And then silence. Forever silence. Small Blue Diamond after the war. The war ended. The world began to rebuild. Paris filled once again with music, lights, and laughter. But Ella's world remained empty. She returned, day after day, to the ballroom doors. She stood there, waiting, hoping. But Thomas never came. The seasons changed. Years passed. People told her, time heals everything. but some wounds never healed. She carried his promise like a flame inside her heart. Even when the world moved on, she did not let it die. Small Blue Diamond, The Last Dance. One evening, many years later, the ballroom opened its doors again. It was filled with laughter, light, and music. Ella walked inside. The people around her were strangers, but she didn't notice. She stood in the middle of the room, and slowly, she began to dance. Alone, yet not alone. To everyone else, she seemed a lonely woman, dancing by herself. But in her heart, Thomas was there, holding her hand, smiling at her. She closed her eyes and whispered softly, "This is our last dance. But love never dies." And that night, Paris witnessed a dance that would never be forgotten. Hausa Ultra. This was not just the story of Ella and Thomas. It is the story of countless promises broken by war. It is the story of waiting, of hope, and of love that refuses to die. Wars change borders. They change nations. But the greatest scars of war are not on maps. They're in hearts. Ella and Thomas never had their tomorrow, but their promise lives forever, because true love never dies.